Hi, it's Gary. Welcome to today's video. Today, slightly different video. Over the last couple of years, I've been doing my monthly pens in use. That's where I show the pens I'm going to be using mainly during the month. And at the end of the month, I give you some ideas about how I've got along with them and I give them a ranking. What I thought I'd do is I'd actually take a look through my pens in use book. Here it is. This is Oxford Optic. And as you can see here, these have been going on in this book since the January of 2022. So I've got about 16 or 17 months worth of entries in here. So I thought it's a good chance, let's take a walk through memory lane and see what my thoughts are on these and how I've developed this idea of the monthly theme as time has gone on. Join me now, down on the mat, let's jump in and take a look through the book. Here we are down on the table, my pens in use book. This is an Oxford Optic notepad. It's got really gorgeous 90 GSM Oxford Optic paper, and this is a B5 size. So if we go inside, January 2022, so January of last year, this is when I started using this book. I have got another one which I was using before then, but that's mixed in with other stuff. Last year I dedicated this one to my pens in use videos. What I'm going to do, just quickly go through each month. We're not going to spend a lot of time dwelling on them. I don't want this to be an overly long video. So price point winners. The previous year I'd done a number of videos where I'd been looking at different price points. So I thought let's compare the winning pens from them. So the Daylight New Moon 2, I'm not going to read through all of them. I like the Eau de Nil. And this month, as you can see, I've got a lot of blues. So I've ended up with Diamine Marine, Diamine Aqua Lagoon, Diamine Eau de Nil, Robert Oster Torquay, a bit more greener. One of the things I do is I like to give the price for the pens. I think that's really helpful, especially if you're thinking that looks like a nice pen. And if you know it's $18, like with a New Moon 2, you think, well, yeah, that's something I could maybe afford. Whereas you're thinking, oh, I like that Pilot Custom 823, but nearly $400, to be honest, it's out of the price range for a lot of people. So I think it's important to have the prices to aid with that, not so much understanding, but to help with knowing what you're committing to if you think, oh, I like that pen. And then, obviously, I've got my rankings. So that month, the Pilot Custom 823, well-deserved winner. On the back of the page, I do fetch in some other pens during the month sometimes. So that's what I put on this back. But these, they don't get a ranking. February of 2022. Again, a completely different selection. Very different colours as well. The previous month there was a lot of blue, whereas here we've got a good mix. It's one of the few times when I've got a black ink as well. The Keiko Edge, nice pen. I think it's a bit like a Lamy 2000 type knockoff. I don't use it very often though, because I find that after about a week or two of not being used, it does dry up a bit. This month was interesting because I was comparing my two Winsung 698s. One has got a steel nib, the other one's got a gold nib. And obviously that's the reason for the price difference. All Chinese pens, so the month Chinese pens. I try to, mix up my themes as well. So we've got plenty of variety, I think the best way to put it. March of last year, made in Taiwan. So all Taiwanese made pens. Very much dominated by TWSBI. When I look at my pens, most of my Taiwanese pens, they're TWSBIs. So I've got an Eco, the 580, the VAC 700R, and the Draco. Do you know, the Draco, lovely looking pen. It's one of the few pens though where I'd say it's well overpriced. Once again, we've got a nice variety of colour, not focusing on any one particular colour. Now, I'm not sure here what had happened, because I'd gone from Jack Frost to John Frost. I must have wanted to be comparing the two Frost inks at some time. Jumping into April. Well, I got a lot of feather in there on my titles. Not sure what was happening there. Jinhao 35. Pen BBS Autumn Frosted Leaves. I think there should be some gold sheen in this from memory. Don't see a lot coming out there. So these were all Jinhao pens, as you can see, all made by Jinhao. trying to think. The 9056, I quite like that. That's a wooden pen, but it's got a tendency to dry out quite a lot. The Jinhao 100, one of my favourite pens, I've got to be honest. Going back to the previous month, you can see there with the previous month's pens, all those Taiwanese ones, a lot of bleeding through and show through there. Let's jump on over. Yeah, I did fetch in a couple of other Jinhaos. So we've got the X450 and another 159. On there, I'd put a Conklin broad nib. I believe it's a Yoho nib. Very white writer. Again, we've got a lot of bleeding through. We're into May now. So we're almost 12 months ago. I do like the Stool Kill. This month, it was called That's Fishy. So Narwhal obviously is, well, it's a whale. It's not so much a fish, is it? But same thing, it's in the sea. So I've got a couple of different Stool Kills with different nibs. So I had the medium, and then I had a standard Yoho medium. Had the Key West, again by Narwhal. And another Key West by Narwhal. Oh, no, to be honest, these are all Narwhal pens. I should have called it the Narwhal month when I'm looking back at it now. I like this Pure Pen St. George's Cross. You don't get a lot of, it's just like red, but to me, being from England, St. George's Cross, that's the national flag of England. So that's something which I think it's nice to use. And to be honest, it's the only reason I bought that. I do like Ancient Copper, and that was in my pretty Narwhal 365. I'm going to show this one because I've got it out. Very pretty pen. That well deserved the #1 position. And I brought in a couple of other Narwhals there. June, Moon Landing. They were all Moonman pens, so I thought, yeah, Moon Landings, near enough, a little bit of a play on words there. So we've got 6 different Moonman pens. One of my, I'm not going to say the things that let Moonman pens down. One of the things I wish they would change, that they all seem to be fine nibs. The T5, that did come with a medium nib. The M600S, I've put in there a Kaigaloo long knife. That's what I've got the KLF for. Although I put KLK, not sure why I did that. But it's an interesting nib, gives a slightly different line to it. So yeah, these all really fine nibs. I had there the fine Moonman nib and the fine bottle nib in the M800. The A1, although it won that month, it's not a pen that's been exciting me. You know, I used it a couple of months, then I put it away. So that's something I need to think about. How can I use that more? We also had the Moonman P135 that was brought in. That's got Diamine All the Best. And even though it's a fine nib, you can see we've got some sheen there coming through. If we jump into July now, the Italian Connection. All Italian pens. So I had the Visconti Breeze. That's quite an unusual pen. It's the cheapest that I could find in the Visconti line. You know, 160 Aussie dollars when I got it. I was actually quite disappointed with the ink. It's only a sample, but you know, every time you see it talked about, they're always going on about sheen. I can't see any of it. The Ferrari, love this 1.1 nib. It's still a bit rough. Bit by bit, I'm working on it as I go forward. So there's still a little bit of roughness on it. The Bononia, it's a nice pen. Looks quite nice. Feels very nice in the hand. One thing I will say about it is that the threads, they're a little bit on the rough side. They feel like they catch. The Momento Magico, I've found my perfect ink for that now. It wasn't Robert Oster Terracotta. It's actually used earlier in the month. It's Diamine Blaze Orange. I love them two as a combo. The Van Gogh, very small pen, especially for the price, and it's still a steel nib. It's still nice. It's still enjoyable. Then the Leonardo Momento Zero Grande with Pure Pens Westgate Hotel. It's actually made for them by Diamine, and you can see there we've got a nice red sheen on that. That was a well-deserved position #1. So I started here in August doing this idea of a Use Me Up month. So now every 3 months I do a Use Me Up. And what you'll notice is with these Use Me Ups, the idea is to go through a lot of pens. Because of all the videos I make, I do end up with sometimes 30 or 40 pens inked up. And I don't like to throw ink out, so they sit in my pen case. So the idea of these use me up months is to get in and use up as many of the pens that I can. So you can see here, the cheapest pen there, that was the winner. At the time, the T5, really, really pleased with it. As time's gone on, not so happy, but that's covered in a number of other videos. Again, we've got that P135 that we're using up there. And as you can see, if we go over to the back, got loads of other pens there. So I ended up using about 12 pens that month. Just looking down here. Again, we've got all the best again. So we've got all the best in 2 pens. We've got it here in the P135 and here in the 698 with the gold nib. Nice sheen there coming through. That Diamond 580 with the Robert Oster Aussie Brown. Same with the Skullkill here. You can see they're both very wet. I needed to do 2-minute tests on both of them. In September, that's different. So what was this month? Well, this was what I would call a month of different looking pens. So pretty pens is the best way to call it, I would say. So the idea is, something bright, something different that I wouldn't normally use. So we've got the Fully Wen 017, that's blues and yellows and greens, very bright in your face. The Hondian N7, that's the peacock version. The Retro 51 Tornado, this is a copper pen. Absolutely love it. It's another pen, I don't use it often enough. The Ranga Model 5, that's now, I used to call it the big boy. We'll get round to why I changed it, but now it's called the Hulk. It is a hulking pen, it's the biggest pen that I have. The Bennu Talisman, this is the Dragon's Blood. Again, really nice, sparkly, pretty pen. It's what I often call my Christmas pen. Then the Narwhal 365. And we swapped the ink there, so we had Ancient Copper and Festive Joy. I think this is the first month that Dominant Industry inks appear. Up till then, most of my inks, they're Diamine, and that's what I use a lot of. But I was able to expand, so I've now got 4 different types of Dominant Industry ink as well. Again, we had a couple of extra pens coming in. Now, I was not putting the prices here for the pens that I brought in. I do change that later on. We'll see as we go through. So, October, these were European pens. So, as it says, it's on the box. They were all pens that I made in Europe. This is the first month where you see my split in pricing. Up till then, all my pens, I try to put them in as send-in price order. But what I've started doing lately, and you can see it here in October, is I try to do 3 pens that are under 100 Aussie dollars, then 3 pens that are over $100. It's a nice way to get a good mix and also to see a bit of variety. And for the most, you can tell the difference between the under 100 and the over $100 pens. So we had the Safari. That's a pen. I don't often ink it up now. I've got to be honest, I don't think I've ever enjoyed writing with it. It's not that it's uncomfortable. I like the grip section. It's just, I don't know, it just doesn't grab me. I love the Kaweco Sports. I've got a 1.1 nib in this. I've got another one with a broad nib. I love the look of this. 34, 35 Aussie dollars. Very, very well priced. Cult Pens Mini. This is a pen just too small for me. It was worth trying, but it's tiny, absolutely minute. I mean, it's made for them by Kaweco, and I think it's even smaller than the Lilliput. Very small. I brought in the Sonnet this month. This is a pen I've had since about, I want to say 2009. So it's one of my original fountain pens. We've got the Leonardo. We've got the Diplomat Aero. I love the Aero. I really like that pen. So November, we had another couple of a Parker Jotter. This was bought for me by my daughter. She got it from a car boot sale in the UK, and then it was sent over to me in Australia. She paid about £2 for it, but I did check the prices, and the price to buy it in Australia brand new would be $20. And, this is where I first started using the Leonardo Magico, as I said, with Diamond Blaze Orange. I absolutely love this combo. I can't imagine using a different ink in this pen. November, well, we've got another Use Me Up month. So we've got there, we've got that Wingsun 698. Here what we're seeing, as well as the sheen, we're actually seeing the shimmer on this one. So hopefully I'm catching the light. So it's like a red ink, but it's got this gorgeous, can you see that blue shimmer there to it? Looks very attractive. So I'm using up a lot of them. This Robert Oster vine leaf, that was a sample. I ended up with 2 samples of it. And this was one of the few pens where I actually found it looked nice. And here, this is the first month where I've got the Pilot Custom Heritage 92. That was my first gold nibbed pen. In there, I've got Van Diemen Apple Island Green. And this is the only pen that I found that this Apple Island Green works really well in. For some reason, all the other pens just doesn't like it. And again, if you look in the back, you can see I've used up a lot of other pens. So we've used up the Draco, that Twisby VAC 700. That's got Diamine Red Robin. I think that's another ink, is it? No, it looks fairly flat there. Pure Pens John Frost, that's a nice, it's like a teal ink with a nice red sheen. Again, made for them by Diamine. We're up to December, so the end of last year. What I've decided to do in December, and that'll be December this year as well, I'm going to use the inkvent inks from the previous year. So this was only inks from the 2021 inkvent calendar. So we've got Peach Punch, Harmony, Yuletide, Winter Spice, Brandy Snap and Garland. I see slightly different here because I've got 4 under 100. But that's because, I wanted to use this 580, but I liked these colours. So I've got a nice range of colours. Again here with that Winter Spice, can you see that gorgeous blue shimmer there? Very, very nice in this Diamond 580. The Bennu Talisman and Diamond Garland, as I've already said, to me, this is a combo that I'm going to be using every Christmas. Again, can you see there we've got some blue, got some red, and we've got that green background colour. Once again, also had some other pens. Diamond Black Ivy, that's quite interesting. That was in a 1.1 stub. So it's like a dark green, but again, if I can get the page to go right in the light, you've got a nice red sheen on there. We're into January of this year, so we're getting quite the way through, aren't we? So 2022 winners. These were all the winners, obviously, from last year. It's the pen that was a winner, not the combo, so I have used different inks. Hondian 960. It's a nice pen. I don't use it often enough. Jinhao 100. I got them in the wrong order. I've always got a Jinhao 100 inked up. The A1, yeah, it won. As I say, I don't know what it is, just doesn't excite me. Maybe it's because it's an extra fine nib, but you're limited by your choice of nibs. That gorgeous Now All 365 that I brought in earlier, that's got the purple Festive Joy. I think there's a little bit of a sheen in that. The Memento Zero Grande, I had Diamine pick me up. That's really nice. It's like a brown, and there's, hopefully you can see it, I've got some green sheen coming through. And then the 823. The 823 is my most expensive pen. I did fetch in some other pens. Again, these are ones that won during the year. So we've got that Pilot Custom Heritage 92, the Aero, and that Twisby Diamond 580. This time with Yule Log. Again, can you see that? Can you see the way that we've got like maybe a coppery tone, maybe, or a pinky tone there to the shimmer. February, well, it's another Use Me Up month. So again, using up a number of pens. Finally managed to finish most of these. The Skullkill. I like the Skullkill pens. They're a nice shape. It's another one. I don't use it often enough. I should use it more often. Try to stick here with that split. So 3 under 100, 3 over 100. The Vaxer, the Diamond Spiced Apple. Shame I can't have that in the back here in the inkvent one, because this is very nice. I think Spiced Apple was that in this year's or 2022's inkvent. Just look at that gorgeous sheen on there. Didn't use as many pens, only used an extra 4. The Ranga Santa, that was a brand new pen, arrived fairly late in December. It's beautiful though. It's like a crackled red material with white. So the idea is meant to look like Santa Claus. It's going to be another pen. It'll be coming out every Christmas. March 2023. This was a month I absolutely loved, and I need to do more months like this. The theme was Marvel heroes. So I've got Groot, which was a golden sassafras. That was like a kit pen that was made over in Tasmania. I had to think for a second there. And it's a nice golden wood, so I thought, yeah, that's Groot. The Parker Frontier, all silver coloured pen, or stainless steel coloured pen. So that was a Silver Surfer. The Ranga Model 5. This is why this is now called the Hulk, because it was such a good match. The massive, big, chunky pen. So I thought the Hulk, and I love the name of it, and I love the way they match. Pilot E95S. This was the first time this appeared in one of my pens in use months. This pen was one I got for Christmas, as well as the Waterman Karen. But I thought that reminded me of Iron Man, because you've got the dark, crimsony colour, but then you've got that champagne type colour, and I thought that reminds me of the Iron Man comic. Not the movies, but the comic, the colours in his armour from that. The Leonardo Magico, the Thing. Yeah, again, I thought this is a really good match. We've got orange, it's speckled, not speckled, it's like cracked ice type thing. So it looks like the Thing where you've got the orange stone skin, which is all cracked. And then Waterman Karen, I thought the colour there reminded me again from the comics of the Daredevil suit. I did fetch in one pen, which was the Black Panther. This was Jinhao 35, which is a black pen. In there, I've got a black ink, which is Pure Pens Wash Gold. Hopefully, again, you might see this. It's got a gold shimmer in it. So you've got black and gold. And I thought that's a nice combo for Black Panther. April, I called this my good value pens. So the idea here, they were all pens which work well, but were well priced. So we got going from $2 all the way up to a massive $45. Again, I've managed to go for a range of different colours in the inks. Although these are scored, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and 6. This month, a lot of these, they were very close. I have to rank them, but the ranking could easily change at any time. Then we're into this month as I'm recording. This is May of 2023. Now the title here, this is written with Robert Oster Tranquility. It's a nice ink. The pen it's in, which is a Just Turning's hand-turned pen, very, very wet. It takes about 5 minutes for it to dry. Started the month with 2 pens with the same ink. Both pens ran out on the first day I used them. I like this Dominant Industry Lunga though, it's a nice brown ink. The Key West, this one's still going as I'm recording this. This is purple, and hopefully you can see there we've got a nice, it's like a pinky coloured shimmer to it. The E95S with Diamond Claret. The 365, this has got Cult Pen's Little Pip. This is gorgeous purple ink with masses and masses and masses of gold sheen. Just look at that. Then, the Leonardo Magico and Blaze Orange. I have brought some other pens in already. The Marchon M8, that's empty now. The Diplomat Aero with Pure Pen St. George's Cross. That was actually inked up for April, although it wasn't an April pen. It was inked up because I used it on the 23rd of April. 23rd of April in the UK is St. George's Day. So that's why that's done. And that's a tradition that I started last year, is every April the 23rd, that's the ink that I use. Kaigaloo 316A, that's using up the last of this sample of this Kobe ink. Nice, really nice coloured ink. I get a nice line from the 316A. Jinhao 88, that's a fairly new pen. In there I've got Diamond Wild Strawberry, and one of the things I didn't realise until I actually did this sample, this writing, I'm hoping it'll come over. There's a gorgeous gold sheen on this. I'm just trying to catch the light. I'm not seeing much on my preview, but to my eyes, virtually every letter turns gold as I'm moving it around. So that's a walk through my pens and use book. I do have another one which I may show on one of my live streams. This is the book that stays at home. The other pen actually goes out in the other book goes out and about with me. So that's it. That's looking at my pens in use, taking a bit of a walk. And as we've been going through this, there's a number of pauses in the video which I will edit out, but that's where I'm actually thinking about and reminiscing about what it was like using those. And that's why I like having this book and being able to go through it from time to time. I hope you've enjoyed today's video. What are your ideas about this idea of having this book where you're looking at the pens you've used each month? Do you do something similar? Do you have like a pen and ink journal? Please drop your comments down below. I'd love to know how other people do it, because I could then maybe even apply it to what I do and improve the way I'm going. Please hit the thumbs up button every time you like, every time you comment. Just helps with the YouTube algorithm. If you haven't already, please subscribe to my channel so that you can get new videos as I release them. I'll talk to you again soon.